Well, good morning, everybody. This is Don Sterchi, Don S. Leathercraft. I'm going to show you a little video here that details a vise that I made for edge sanding belts before they're dyed. I have arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, and my hands become very stiff and painful. And for quite a while now, I've known I've needed some way to hold the leather while I sand the edges. Sanding with 150 grit is pretty critical to getting the smooth edge before I dye them. I sand them and burnish them, then I dye. And actually I sand them, dye them, then burnish them to make all the fibers lay down neatly. But belts are kind of floppy, even though mine are very, very stiff, you know, with 2 laminated layers of 7 to 8 ounce Herman oak leather, vegetable tanned leather. Anyhow, I've known for some time that I've needed a vise, some way to hold it on edge that I could do more than just a few moments of sanding at a time before my hands began to cramp. So here's what I came up with, and if anybody needs any more details, dimensions, something like that, I've got some still photographs of the clamp mechanism, and if that's not enough, I'll be happy to let you contact me, and I'll help you any way I can in making one of your own if it's something you need. So anyway, oh, there's Winnie, one of my supervisors. Here you have it. It's basically just, good girl, honey. It's a piece of plywood, maybe 5.5 or 6 inches wide, and 2 old pieces of bed frame rail. You could substitute the hardwood, good stiff hardwood for the bed frame rails, but it's what I happen to have on hand. What I did was these bed frames are about 32 inches long, and I lined what would be the vise jaws with leather to keep from damaging my leather belts that I'm working on. I simply took a couple of small blocks of poplar and used a T-nut down on this end to make a threaded mechanism whereby I could use bolts to tighten as a clamp. There's, you know, not a limitation on the length you can use of the belt because nothing obstructs the ends. It's not like I have a C-clamp that would, you know, prevent me from using something longer than 32 inches. Anyway, these go in and they clamp right up against the bed frame rail, like so. What I do is open it up a little bit, and if this is an 1 3/4 inch width belt. Actually, it sits about this far out, but I would like it to sit a little bit farther out. I just milled some thin lumber, about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 5/32, and you drop that down in there, and your belt that you're going to be sanding on goes right there. And on a short piece like that, I only have to clamp the one end, but it's held in there nice and stiff. I can use an edger. Pardon me. Yes, I do smoke, and I'm not ashamed of it. Tobacco put me through college at 10 cents a stick. Anyhow, you can go ahead, use a piece of sanding paper. I actually have a radius block that I use with sandpaper, and I can run it along there. My hands don't get as tired. It's consistent. Also, while it's in the clamp, since my leather belts are pretty stiff, I can go ahead and I can edge a square edged belt and then go right to sanding. I'll show you the back side of it, like that. You can see where it had the existing holes for the adjustment mechanism. I've found that bed frame railing, if you do decide to use it, of course, I believe it's a tempered steel. I know it's quite hard. And before I drill it, I have to take a propane torch and spot anneal it so that the steel softens up enough for me to use a regular high-speed steel bit to drill it. But anyway, there's nothing special about the bottom. It's just, as I showed you, a piece of plywood. I've drilled a hole so that I can hang it on my pegboard in Miss Penny's in my hobby room number 2, where I do most of my leather crafting. I would have this being videoed there in hobby room 2 this morning, but Miss Penny has had a number of orders for some of her beautiful costume jewelry tailored this morning to quilting and sewing hobbyists. Anyway, I appreciate you taking time to look. If there's anything that you have a question about on this, or if you think it's something that would be helpful to you, I'd be happy to walk you through how I made it. Oh, one more thing. This jaw, if you'll call it that, is free to move in any direction, but so that it doesn't come sliding off the end and drop on my foot, I put a couple pieces of poplar as stops. I've just screwed them into the plywood, like so. But if I ever need to disassemble the vise, I just unscrew these from the end, and I can slide that jaw out and do whatever I need to do. Everything comes apart and goes together with screws. There's no glue used except for the glue holding the scrap leather padding to the steel rails. That's about got it. I hope this helps some of you guys or ladies who have arthritis or problems with your hands like I do. And I sure appreciate you watching. Thanks so much.